Hello everyone and welcome, I'm Mr. Rand Comics, and today I'm going to be talking to you about investing in comic books and the sort of do's and don'ts and a sort of general guide about it. I'm going to be babbling on a bit in this video, so I hope it's coherent and I hope you enjoy. Also, same as always, going to be doing the giveaway at the end, and I'll announce the winners for the last giveaways that I did. But yeah, giveaway at the end, so go to that if you want, or listen to the video, which would be fantastic, your choice. Now, the first thing that I'm going to say on this is that you should not invest in comic books unless it's something that you love and want to do as a hobby. Unless you already love comic books or you want to start reading them and you're going to be a reader as well, investing in comic books will not be worthwhile and will be more of a hassle than anything else for you. There are articles online which say, as a general rule of thumb, comic books increase in value. That is fully incorrect. You pick up a comic book in the shop today and there's a 99% chance that in even just a year you could probably pick up for 50p in someone's car boot sale. So unless you absolutely love comics and you love the culture, you love reading them and you want to be around them a lot, don't invest in comics as a thing that you want to pay off. Okay, now that that sort of mini disclaimer type things out of the way, let's get on to my first point. And that if you're investing, as a general rule, don't go for modern comics. If you want comic books that will increase in value over time, you should focus on Silver Age or Golden Age comic books. These are the books that were around and published before people started getting into the collecting mentality. As soon as the 1970s came around and people started getting into collecting, those books have sort of stopped being worth anything, because you'll find more and more and more of those in higher and higher and higher grades. And if you look back, even the ones which are super key issues like New Mutants 98, first appearance of Deadpool, won't go for stupid amounts of money, even though it might have had a lower print run than some Silver Age or Golden Age. This is just because collecting comic books wasn't that popular back then. It was about reading them. People didn't know that there would be value in these. A lot of people do go along and put a lot of speculation into modern books, and sometimes that will pay off. Like, we could go as far back to what I think is 1992 with Amazing Spider-Man 361, first print of Carnage. There are people who went into their shops and bought 20 copies of that, and now they're selling them off. But even now, if they're in graded near mint condition, they'll still only go for about 150 quid each, and consider that raw, that's about £60. That's still not all that much to be waiting 25 years to sell off. As a general rule, modern books will not go for that much, and if you put all of your money into modern books, more of the time it will not pay off than when it does. I'll use Inhumans issue 11 as an example. That was bigged up as the first appearance of an exciting new Inhuman Mosaic, and now you'll be lucky if you get more than cover price for it. You know, I mean, it's retained its cover price, which is more than can be said for the rest of the series, but that's not gone up in value at all, because everyone was aware that this would be a key issue and everyone jumped on and bought this. Now, you'll see articles going around saying, look, this variant cover of Civil War II went for $450. Most of these variants which go for that much had a really high price point to begin with. All of these variants that you see going for huge amounts of money, very few of them would have come out for cover price to begin with. Most of them would have already been, look, come and get this new variant, there are only 200 in the world, only 500 quid, give us your cash. And if you love the art, go ahead, buy it, but you can't really expect that to go up in value. You could probably sell it off for the same amount that you bought it for, but even that's unlikely in some cases. And now I'm not saying don't buy modern comic books at all, because of course sometimes you can go on to make a profit for them, but 90% of the time you won't. What I do personally is I just collect single issues of runs that I love. You know, I mean, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, I'm collecting every single issue of, and I'm sure that Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur issue 1 will someday go for, I mean, it's already going for over cover price. I don't think it's ever going to go for silly amounts of money, but I'm sure that it will slowly increase, but I don't think it will increase by all that much. So, like, if you saw one for £10 on eBay now, it's probably not worth picking up, because it's probably not going to get much higher than that. An example that I'll use for modern comics is Nyx 3, which is the first appearance of X-23. After Logan came out, everyone with a Nyx 3 sort of came out and went, okay, look, got this. And I was going for a couple hundred, 300. Fantastic. But that's already started going back down again. And that is really an exception when it comes to modern comics. That and Spider-Verse 2, or Edge of Spider-Verse 2, with the first appearance of Spider-Gwen. But yeah, as a general rule, Silver Age and Golden Age comics will increase in value, where modern and anything usually past about 70, 74, 75 probably won't. I mean, most people selling 90s issues, most like comic book shops selling 90s issues will try and slash them down to 50p a piece because nobody's picking them up. I'll use an example of a Silver Age. My own dad went to a comic book mart in 1983 and he saw a copy of Hulk issue 1 for sale. He didn't buy it, regrettably, but the condition wasn't in great condition. It's probably around a 3.0, and it was there at the time for £200 British UK 1983 money. Now, if I adjust for inflation for today that would have been £619.34p. And only a month ago, a CGC graded 3.0 sold on eBay for £8,239.69p. So adjusting for inflation, if my dad had bought that and sold that off last month, he would have made a profit of £7,620. It's a tidy profit. And obviously Hulk 1 is a mega key. Like mega key. But as a general rule, Silver Age and Golden Age comic books at least go up with inflation. So investing in them, you're not going to lose your money. And that brings me on to my next point, which is if you're investing in comic books, always go for the best possible condition if you're doing it as an investment. If you're collecting the comic just as a, oh my god, I'm so happy to have this, like I did for a Fantastic Four issue 5, if I had my Fantastic Four issue 5 graded, it would probably come back at 0.5 because there's a panel missing in it. But that's fine because I bought that as a key issue. But again, I'm not investing in that, I'm buying that as a collector. If you're investing in a comic book, you want to get the best condition possible because that is what will sell for the most. It'll also be the most expensive to get, but that's sort of what you have to do. If you're buying a raw copy, like on eBay or at Comic Mart, don't trust what the seller is telling you about the condition. Always try and ask for more pictures, have a look at it yourself, check that there are no panels on the inside cut out or Marvel value stamps cut out. Like in Hulk 181, First Appearance of Wolverine, they have a Marvel value stamp where in a lot of cases that has been cut out of the book, drastically reducing the grade even though it looks near mint on the outside. So that's always something you're going to have to look out for. And CGC grading, 9.8 is the best possible grade that you can expect. So always try and go for that if you're buying a book as an investment. Another thing from that is try not to buy on a whim. If you see something and you think it's cheap, always research around it because there is a very good chance that you might be overpaying for it. The best way of checking these things, if it's a graded book, you can look on GPA, which I think is a paid service, but it tracks every sale of a CGC book and tells you roughly how much you could expect to be paying for that book in that grade. Another good book is the Overstreet Price Guide, which has been coming out every year for a long time, and that'll give you a rough current market price for the comic book. But the absolute best one that you can look at usually is eBay sold listings and see how much that book has been going for on eBay. When you start getting back into Golden Age, Silver Age keys, eBay sold listings might not help you that much if they haven't sold that many of those. But most of the books you're going to be buying, you can find loads of eBay sold listings to see what they've usually been selling for and prevent you from overpaying. Now, coming on from condition, slabbing and storing your comics. Slabbing is something that you might want to do to your comics, but at the same time could be a massive waste of money. So let's say that you have a late Silver Age issue, or even, I don't know, let's take Silver Surfer issue 3, for example, the first appearance of Mephisto. If you had that book in a really nice grade and you got it graded, I'll just explain what grading is just in case. You can send it off to a company called CGC or CBCS, and what they do is they examine the book and they will give it a grade out of 10 based on what condition it is. They will then put it in a sealed plastic slab that you cannot open without invalidating the grade. That way there is no ambiguity, or if you choose to sell it on, there is no ambiguity between the buyer and the seller about what grade it is. It also helps to protect the comic book. Sometimes this can be a massive waste of cash. Like, what was I saying? I was saying Silver Surfer issue 3, first appearance of Mephisto. If you get that sent off and it comes back a high grade, that's fantastic. That'll go for more than it would if it was a raw copy, an ungraded copy. However, if you sent it off and it came back something like a 3.0 or a 4.0, then it'd probably go for even less than it would as a raw copy, and you would have lost out because you would have paid for that to get graded. I mean, you would have paid something like 40 quid or $30, depending on where in the world you are. And if you don't think that grading a book would be the right way of going about things, then you can get things like Mylars, which are nice little plastic sleeves, or top loaders are also very good. Bagging and boarding your comics is always the minimal thing that you want to go about doing. It is also very important for comics that you invest in, or even comics that you just collect, to always be stored in a proper environment. You want it to be in a dry, smoke-free environment. A smoke-free environment is very important because it will damage the pages and it will make the books absolutely reek. And 100% you should keep comic books away from sun. Like, if they are facing the sun, then they will start to fade. And there are some horrible examples of that. I mean, I'll probably show a couple of pictures. It's nasty stuff. Don't put your comic books in the sun. Face them away from the sun. I briefly touched on this earlier, but do not follow buying trends. Unless you already have the book, in which case, sell it on during that trend. Brilliant, fantastic. But don't buy to follow trends, because you will almost always lose out. Almost every time, once you realise the trend is happening, it will already be too late for you to make a profit on it. I mean, example of that at the moment, like I mentioned, is Carnage, Amazing Spider-Man 361. The prices are just going up and up and up for that because people are buying it to be speculative. Another example is the Nyx 3, which I touched on earlier. That is already going back down in value. Unless you already have the book, following trends usually won't pay off. It will usually involve you losing money unless you want to keep the book afterwards. Right, I think that's the end of the video, and I realise I rambled a lot in this video. I don't know if I maybe should have made a script or written some things down other than notes. If you found this at all helpful, let me know. If you didn't, let me know anyway. The winner of my giveaway for my Silver Age, Mega Key and Stanley comic box haul is Let's Get Drunk and Talk About Comic Books. Send me a private message if that is you, and I will send a free comic book your way. And the winner of the free Realm issue 1 is LC Comics. Again, send me a private message or an email and I will send that free comic book your way. Thank you guys for watching, and I will be doing a giveaway on this video as well. Just like this video, subscribe, and comment down below your most precious comic book. I don't know, either in terms of sentimental value or economic value, I don't mind. Just leave a comment what your favourite book is, or if you don't have any, what book you'd want the most. And I will announce the winner of this giveaway in the next video. So thank you guys, I've been Mr. Rand Comics, hope you've enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.